Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome to Full Count, Sports Memo's MLB betting coverage show. We come to you live every weekday, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. My friends, we're going to be covering baseball with some of the best handicappers, analysts, columnists, and bettors on the planet. We're going to be giving out free picks on several games for today's cards and plenty of time for you to take advantage of those free picks. I am your host, world champion handicapper, Las Vegas' biggest daily sports bettor, Joe D'Amico. My friend joining me today, we've got a great Thursday panel for you. Joining me today are two Sports Memo perennial leaderboard fixtures, Eric Pauly and Jeff Michaels. Happy Thursday to you, Eric.
Hey, Joe. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you, Jeff.
Happy Thursday, Joe. Glad to be here.
You know, in getting preparation and getting prepared for this show, you know, I take some notes. I do some things. I was very excited. I've never had the both of you on, I believe, the same show at the same time. And then I got a little sad because it dawned on me that if we added both of your ages together, I'm still older than you. So it pissed me off a little bit, but I am very honored to be here with you guys. You guys may be new kids on the block and a little bit younger, but sports fans, they are no strangers to providing winners for you over at Sports Memo. Eric writes some great columns. He just started on the handicapping side. He's doing some great work. Jeff, you know him as JM Sports. He's been here a little bit longer. While they're young, while they're a little bit younger in age, they are very successful in providing you winners. Now, guys, I have a couple of announcements before we start giving out the first of our 3 roundtable games and go into our best bet segment. First of all, hooray. We want to thank you. Sports Memo, myself, all the other contributors here want to thank you. We hit the milestone of 5,000 subscribers at YouTube. We couldn't be happier. In recognition of that, you know, our customer appreciation is never ending. In recognition of that, we have a special discount for you for today through midnight. SMTV 50 gets you 50% off all access packages right through midnight. Any capper, as many packages as you want right after the show. Go over to Sports Memo. Take advantage of that. Guys, there is another discount I want to tell you about in a second. But first, I want to tell you, while I personally am extremely grateful to all of you that hit that subscribe button, guess what? I want you to hit it again. All of you people that hit the subscribe button, we love you. Wait a minute. Don't go anywhere because right now, over this upcoming week, we'll be battening down the hatches and deciding and confirming what kind of content we're going to come and bring you during football. And I got to tell you, wowee, I've been doing this for 25 years here as a professional capper in Vegas. I've never seen content like Sports Memo is going to be providing you during football. So for those people that subscribed already, make sure that you hit that little alert button every time we come on for a show, because I'm going to tell you, you don't want to miss any of the great content that's going to be starting in August for you in football. And I have one more thing to ask all the new people. We need you to hit the subscribe button now, because we're just not going to rest on our laurels of 5,000 people. We want 10,000 subscribers by the end of football, and we need your help to do it. So hit that subscribe button. I promise you the best content, the most successful content, the most profitable content, and the most entertaining content as well. We can't do it without you. Hit that subscribe button. Now, guys, there is one more program I want to tell you about. This is a huge promo. You know, everybody complains about summer. Sports gets a bit idle, and, you know, kids are off of school. You got them at home. You're going crazy. The weather gets warmer. It could be bothered by humidity, but I want you to know the dog days of summer isn't going to bother you if you follow the Iceman. That's right. Jesse Schule turns up the heat in July and August. His record for the last 3 years in July and August, an incredible 269, 179. He is plus $23,307 for $100 bettors. While some cappers focus strictly on MLB, Jesse doesn't leave any money on the table, and he really doesn't, guys. He's one of the best in the business at both CFL football and Major League Soccer. Jesse offers all his money-making moves in his Dog Days of Summer special offer. I love it. You can get an access pass through Labor Day weekend for only $199. This is almost a $500 value. So beat the heat this summer and join the Iceman in this limited time promotion available right now. Where? At Sports Memo. Now, guys, having said that, we have 3 roundtable games we're going to be covering with 2 of the best that sports betting has to offer. And then we have our best bet segment. Our first of 3 roundtable games is between 2 teams battling for a very, very important, very significant second place spot in the AL East. The Red Sox are at the Rays. Currently, Tampa Bay is minus $1.30, a total of 7.5 over minus $1.15. We're going to go to Eric Pauly. You know Eric for a long time. He's been writing great content, both on the Wager Talk and Sports Memo websites, but he is no stranger to winning now. Over 2 or 3 months that he's been putting up games, He is on the leaderboards every single day. Eric, we want your opinion. Tampa Bay, 130, 7.5 over, minus 115. Take it away, buddy.
Yeah, so looking at the Red Sox and Rays, of course, this is a huge matchup. Only 1.5 games separate them two in the AL East standings. Of course, they're both 14-plus games back of your Yankees, Joe, but they're clawing their way for a wild card spot for sure. Boston's kind of on a little bit of a downward spiral. They lost their last 3, and they're 3-7 in their last 10 with a 5.52 team ERA, which, of course, is not great whatsoever. And in the season series, they're down 7-2 to the Tampa Bay Rays, which is going to come back to haunt them either in the AL East hunt down the line if they are able to catch Yankees, or certainly in the wild card. So that season series total is something really to look at. Tampa Bay won the first 3 games against Boston in the series, 6-4 in their last 10. Boston's actually 24-13 again on the run line as an underdog this season. Tampa Bay is just 21-36 as a favorite. So this is an interesting game to take a look at, because looking at the pitching matchup, you have Cutter Crawford going for Boston. It's his 4th start of the year, and he's got 30 innings pitched this season with a 4.50 ERA, a 4.24 FIP, and a 1.43 WHIP. On 7-4, so about 10 days ago, he pitched against the Rays and went 5.1 innings, allowing no runs on just 2 hits with 8 strikeouts. He also pitched against Tampa Bay earlier this season in April with just 3 innings, 1 hit, 5 Ks, because Crawford started out in the bullpen. He kind of has the Rays number a little bit, and it's going to be interesting to see if he can actually shut this lineup down for a 3rd time this season. But looking at Drew Rasmussen for the Tampa Bay Rays, he's 5-3 in 14 starts, 3.11 ERA, 1.19 WHIP, and a 3.71 FIP. He's yet to face Boston in those 9 games that they played this season, but in his last 3 starts, he couldn't make it out of 5 innings pitched. I mean, I know the Rays do a lot of things with openers and with relievers, but he's only pitched in 5 innings, 5 or more innings, and 3 times this season. The Rays have a 3.39 bullpen team ERA, which is huge, which is going to make the game, which is good. What this game's going to come down to is going to come down to the later innings, in my opinion. He's been a much better pitcher at home with a .183 batting average against, a 2.77 FIP. I'm looking at the under for this matchup. 6 out of the 9 times these teams faced off this season, it went under the total of 7.5 runs. With that total being set today, I'm anticipating an under in the Red Sox Rays tonight.
Sports fans, Eric Pauly, who's doing some great work over at SportsMemo. He says Tampa Bay hosting Boston under is a good play. Great breakdown, great analysis, Eric. We really appreciate that. Guys, go follow Eric after the show. Take advantage of these great discounts, especially that one that just runs through midnight tonight. You don't want to miss out on that. Let's go over to the other new kid on the block. He's one of my favorite people in the world. I love him. You love him. Jeff Michaels, a.k.a. JM Sports. Jeff, I really want your opinion, your angle on the Tampa Bay Rays, minus $1.30. Total 7.5 over 115. The floor is yours, Jeff. Take it away.
Yeah, Eric hit a lot of the nails on the head, but you look at it, Boston's obviously, he said, struggled against Tampa Bay, but it hasn't just been Tampa Bay. It's been that entire AL East division. I mean, you look at the team, they look pretty impressive on paper, but they're just 11-23 against the division this year, and they're putting up 3.9 runs per game, when in all the other games this season, they're averaging nearly 5 runs total, and they're just 5-14 on the road against the division this year. The team's allowed 6.6 runs over the last 7 games on average. And you look in the last 5 years, any team that's off 3 straight divisional losses with a winning record, taking on another team with a winning record, is just 44-83 in the last 5 years. They're up 40 units betting on Tampa Bay in this one, and they're cashing in on over 67, almost 67% of the games. And Rasmussen has been even more impressive at home. Eric touched on his numbers, and his numbers are good. And at home, you look, he's got just a 1.65 ERA this year, and the team's won 5 out of 6 of his home starts. And Tampa Bay's been the exact opposite against the division this year. They're 13-6 at home against the division. They're 8-2 as a home favorite, and 5-1 when they're a home favorite coming off a win. Their opponents are hitting just 218 at home, and divisional opponents are hitting just 214. And they've played some of their best ball against teams over 500. So I do like Tampa Bay to walk away with a big sweep, I think, in this series.
Sports fans, I love it. You love it. Jeff Michaels, a.k.a. James Sports, says he likes Tampa Bay to walk away with it. That's a great breakdown, great analysis, Jeff. Sports fans, that's why Sports Memo is separating so much different, so much better than all the other sites out there. We don't have a cookie cutout of the same handicapper just spitting out the same dribble. All right, we have a bunch of different guys and girls, I should say. First lady of Las Vegas, who is all over the leaderboards, by the way. Bunch of different cappers, all have different angles and all successful. And if you don't believe me, go check the leaderboards. It's a great breakdown, Jeff. Guys, go over to Sports Memo right after this show and go follow Jeff for these great customer appreciation discounts. You're going to follow him all the way to the bank. I want to pose a question to Eric because I have a question on the next round for Jeff. Eric, let me ask you this real quick.
Of course.
You've got 5 teams in American League East, all with winning records right now. Almost, I looked back, I couldn't find the last time a division had 5 teams this far in the season with a winning record. How strong is this American League East? And do you expect one of the American League East representatives to be in the World Series this coming fall? Your opinion.
Brett, of course. So the American League East is certainly the best division in all of baseball. And I don't think that's really up for debate. I know we've had this conversation before on the First Family Show, but I'll reiterate it now. Baltimore Orioles, they're playing in the AL or NL Central, or even in the NL East behind really just the Mets and the Braves. They're going to be better than slightly above 500 and kind of pushing for a wild card spot. Before the season started, I actually wrote a column for Sports Memo breaking down why I liked the Boston Red Sox at plus 500 to win the AL East before the season started. So I certainly believe that the Yankees and the Red Sox, of those, I guess, 5 teams, the Orioles are certainly still a work in progress. But I think the Yankees and the Red Sox have what it takes to go deep in the season. Now, I do really like that Charlie Montoya was let go by the Tampa Bay Rays, by the Toronto Blue Jays. I was not a fan of his coaching style and the way he kind of went about managing those games for Toronto. So I think that was actually an excellent move. And I had a couple of my buddies who are Red Sox fans upset about the move because they wanted them to keep him so they can continue to lose. But I think the American League East is certainly the best division in baseball, with the NL West slightly behind them. And I think the teams with the legitimate shot to go deep are the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays if their interim manager pushes the right buttons, because that team has all the makings of a winning ball team.
Great stuff from Eric Pauly. Thank you very much, Eric. Sports fans, if you like what you heard from Eric, and I know you do, go over to Wager Talk at Sports Memo. He writes a ton of columns. I got to tell you, before I started working with Eric, I boned up on his columns. The guy's a genius. He's great. He's well beyond his years. But also, go follow him over at Sports Memo. He's a winner. Our second of 3 roundtable games today between 2 American League Central teams looking to solidify some dominance in the division. There's a really interesting matchup, guys. We got the White Sox at the Twins currently. Minnesota minus $1.65. 8.5 over 115 on the total. Let's go back to Eric Pauly. Eric, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so looking at the White Sox Twins. The White Sox, of course, are one of the most disappointing teams in baseball to date. They were odds favorites to win and run away with the American League Central, and right now they find themselves looking up, trying to make some ground up before this All-Star break happens. The Minnesota Twins lead the season series against the White Sox 5-1. The White Sox only won that game last night and only won by that 1 run. So the Twins have their number this year. White Sox are coming off a split against the Guardians, and the Twins are coming off I lost my notes there. I apologize. But I'm really taking a look at the pitching matchup between these 2 games, because something that I've mentioned on the show before is that the fact that the White Sox are trying to rely on a veteran like Johnny Cueto to come in and kind of be some patchwork makeshift help for their starting rotation really bodes poorly for them. He's 3-4 in his 10 starts of the season with a 2.91 ERA, a 4.11 FIP, and a 1.15 WHIP. And in his last 3 starts, Cueto's allowed 5 runs on 17 hits over 20 innings of work. And that middle start of those 3 was against the Twins on 7-4, and he went 6 innings, allowed 5 runs, 2 hits on actually 5 walks and 3 strikeouts at home. But Cueto's been better on the road this year. He has a 1.74 ERA, a 1.0 WHIP, and a 3.82 FIP. But the Twins have been mashing at home all season long and are actually at a 799 OPS in the month of July. So they're not going to really stop coming with the bats. But Sonny Gray, the pitcher for the Twins, is actually on one of my fade lists. I like going against Gray a lot, even though his numbers are actually pretty good, the 3.03 ERA and the 3.29 FIP. But he's allowed 8 runs on 13 hits and 16.2 innings of work in his last 3 starts. A little bit better at home with a 2.83 ERA, a 3.31 FIP, which actually goes up, and a 1.20 whip that goes up. The White Sox, their numbers are not going to impress you on the road, besides the fact that they actually have a better record on the road than at home this season. So for this matchup, and I give these actually out to my clients today, I'm looking at the White Sox on that run line plus the 1.5.
Sports fans, Eric Pauly is doing great work over at SportsMemo. He says White Sox on the run plus a 1.5. Guys, Eric Pauly does great breakdowns. Go follow him over at SportsMemo. Use these customer appreciation discounts. They're off the charts. Jeff Michaels, who knows this division as good or better than anybody I've ever met. Jeff, I'm interested in to hear your take on the White Sox at the Twins, currently Minnesota 165, total 8.5 over minus 115. Jeff, take it away.
Yeah, it's been a division to watch for one reason or another. Like Eric said, Chicago was expected to run away with this division, but the difference is that divisional play. I mean, they've struggled against the division again, like we talked about in that AL East matchup before, especially to start out the series. I mean, Chicago is just 2-8 in the first game of the series against the division this year, and they're allowing 6 runs per game. Not to mention they're 0-4 when they're coming off a win. They had 2 errors yesterday. They're 3-7 after a game with 2 or more errors on the season. And they're just 7-22 on the money line against the good winning teams, the teams that are winning 54 to 62% of their games. So even above that 500 number in the last 2 years. But that being said, I like what Cueto's done. Actually, Eric said it's not a name you put a lot of pressure on. I guess you don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially in a Johnny Cueto basket. But the team's won 4 out of 5 of his road starts, and he's posted a .90 ERA against the division in his 3 starts, and he's 3-0 against Minnesota with a 1.38 ERA. But Eric said it too. I like Sonny Gray's numbers, especially against the division as well. He's got a 1.91 ERA against the division this year, and the team's 4-1 in his divisional games. And Minnesota started their divisional series off a lot better than Chicago has. I mean, they're 7-4 in the first game of the series against the division, and they're 7-3 in the last 10. But they're also 9-3 against divisional starting pitchers with an ERA under 3, and they're putting up over 5 runs in those games. The pitching matchup, I think it's going to be a low scoring. I kind of like the under, but I actually like Eric's run line bet on this one too. I think Minnesota may get the win, but I don't think it'll be more than a 1-run win covering the run line for Chicago.
All right, sports fans. Eric Pauly says he likes the under and possibly the run line on the doggy dog right there. Jeff, great breakdown as usual, and that's what we come to expect from you. I mentioned before your breakdown of this game that you know about as much or more than anybody I've ever met about this division. Sports fans, Jeff's a big Cleveland Guardians fan. We're not going to hold that against him, but I am going to ask him this. Jeff, you do know as much or more than anybody I've ever met about this division. Is this division with a lot of baseball to play the whole second half of the season? Is this division, does it belong to Minnesota, or does Chicago and Cleveland have a chance?
I mean, the way that it's looking right now, I think it's gonna take something special to get Minnesota out of there. I mean, Chicago has all the potential in the world if they get they've struggled since day one defensively with, I think Tim Anderson, I said, had like 7 errors in the first 5 games or something crazy to start the year. And while it's gotten a little bit better, it hasn't gotten that much better. And Cleveland struggled outside of the division. I mean, their saving grace would be their divisional play if they can potentially make some of those games up late. But I think the way that it looks now, I think it's Minnesota looking in that rear view, hoping nobody catches that.
Sports fans, as I said, Jeff knows as much or more about this division than anybody I've ever met. Go follow him over at SportsMemo. He's a winner. But don't go anywhere, guys. We have a third of 3 roundtable games before we go to our best bet segment. And our third roundtable game today is a very interesting matchup between 2 National League teams that have a very good chance of facing each other come the postseason. My friends, the Brewers are over at the Giants. San Francisco minus $1.10. 6.5 over minus 115 is the total. Let's go to Eric Pauly. Eric, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so there's one thing I love about baseball in general is a fantastic pitching matchup, and that's exactly what we have tonight with Corbin Burnes going for Milwaukee against Carlos Rodon of the San Francisco Giants. This is the first game of a 4-game series. All games played will be in San Francisco. This is actually the second time these two teams met. The Giants won 4-2 against the Brewers earlier this season, and actually a game that Burns started, which we'll get to. But something that I've spoken about Milwaukee that really gives me pause when looking at their seasonal outlook for making a stretch run in the postseason is the fact that over the last couple of years, they've not been able to get their offense right. And they've always been able to have some of the best starting and relief pitching staffs in all of baseball, but they can't hit the ball. The Brewers are 4-6 in their last 10 games, and they have a .215 team batting average over that stretch, which shows that their pitching staff can keep them in games, but they're not going to really get by hitting just .215 as a team. The Giants, they were hot to start the season, have certainly cooled off and are fighting in, again, in my opinion, the second best division in all of baseball, the NL West. But diving into this matchup, you have Corbin Burns, of course, one of the best pitchers in the entire MLB. It really is a joy to watch him pitch. He's 7-4 on the season with a 2.20 ERA, a .89 WHIP, and a 2.99 FIP, which are all just phenomenal numbers. His last 3 starts has allowed just 4 runs on just 9 hits and 20.2 innings of work. If that doesn't really kind of say all that needs to be said about Burns, just put on the tape and watch him go because it's really a pleasure. But he did face San Francisco in Milwaukee on 425, but he allowed no runs on 2 hits in 6.2 innings and had 11 Ks in that game. And the Giants are actually striking out a lot in the month of July. So it's a little bit of a spoiler there, but I'm definitely taking a look at Burns' strikeout totals. He's been good on the road this season. He has a lower K through 9, but also a lower walks through 9 on the road this year. And the Brewers are 6-2 in games he's started in 2022 on the road. But Rodon, 8-5, 2.70 ERA, 2.14 FIP, which is another phenomenal stat for him. In his last 3 starts, just 6 runs on 15 hits in 20 innings. At home, a 2.08 ERA, a 2.11 batting average against, a 12.92 K9, and a 1.98 FIP, which again are all like at the top of the league this season. However, the Giants are only 3-4 in Rodon's 7 starts this year, and yes, he's facing a very, very cold lineup in the Brewers. So the 2 angles that I would look at is I would definitely lean toward the under, even though it's so low at 6.5, because Burns is a guy and Rodon that can give you 7, 8, potentially 9 innings if the matchup calls for it. And I'm definitely looking at Burns. I saw his strikeout total at over 7.5 Ks, heavily juiced to the over, and that kind of shows you what bookmakers are expecting from Burns tonight. So I do like the under, even though it's so low. And I would also take a look at getting a good price on a Corbin Burns over strikeout prop.
Sports fans, another great breakdown by Eric Pauly. He says under and a strikeout prop, possibly. Sprinkle some money on Corbin Burns. Great stuff, Eric. As usual, we've come to expect that from you. Let's go over to Jeff Michaels. This is really an interesting matchup, Jeff. Brewers at Giants, San Francisco, minus $110, total 6.5 under 15. Jeff, take it away.
Yeah, this one, I mean, Eric hit the nail on the head, I think. You know, Burns, that 1.62 ERA on the road is impressive. And he's got 3 starts against San Francisco, and his ERA is under 1 for Corbin Burns at a .92. And Rodon is no step back on the other side of the mound with that 2.08 ERA at home. You know, the one thing that did stand out to me when it comes to a sides play is San Francisco is actually 41-19 against teams that hit 1.25 home runs or more per game in the last 2 years. And they're definitely, but they are the hotter team than Milwaukee going into it. So Milwaukee's, what runs they have been able to put up have been from that long ball, and San Fran's been able to limit that in those kind of opponents. And, you know, the Milwaukee, Eric said it in the last 10, I looked in the last 7 games, and Milwaukee's hitting just 218 in the last 7 games. So nothing changed in those 3 games. There's still a struggle in offense. And Burns is 6-9-2 over under on the year, and his career against San Fran, all 3 starts have gone under the total. Milwaukee's just 2-6-1 over under in the last 9 games overall. And they're 11-16 over under against the left-handed pitchers. And they're hitting just 215 against lefties on the season. And they're putting up under 4 runs per game. And when Kapler is manager for San Fran in the last 3 years, they're just 17-33 over under after a 1-run win, like they're coming off last night. So I like the under too. I'm with Eric, even at that 6.5 total.
Well, great minds think alike, sports fans. Jeff Michael says, just like Eric, he likes the under. I want you to know that I have noticed through your 3 breakdowns, both Eric and Jeff, that you young guys like to talk about being whipped and stuff. Not, I want you to know, you come to Vegas, it's going to cost you extra. I'm just kidding, folks, but don't go anywhere. We are done with our 3 roundtable games, but we are far from done with this show. We have our most exciting portion of the segment, is our best bet segment, where each one of our contributors is going to be giving out a best bet, including me today. So without any further ado, let's go to Eric Pauly. Eric, before you give out your best bet, can you tell us what you're excited about maybe on the premium side tonight over at SportsMemo?
Yeah, so I have a couple of premium picks, and going back to the discounts Joe mentioned before, I would highly recommend taking advantage of that for Jeff and Joe and also Dion and really the rest of the cast. It's a great discount, and you're going to get some of the best information, analysis, and just pure winners from some of the best handicappers in the entire planet. On the premium side, I have nothing. I have a couple of plays just for my clients who are on daily passage, which I would recommend that you guys hop on everybody's weekly or daily passes or even monthly passes, or especially season long, because that's where you're going to get the most value from your handicappers. So looking at tonight, my best bet on the board is going to be looking at the New York Mets and Chicago Cubs. I'm going over 7.5 for my best bet in this matchup. The Mets are coming off a huge series win against the Brewers, which is huge for the standings because the NL East is so close. They're 27-19 on the road and 34-29 covering the run line as a favorite. The Cubs are on a 6-game losing streak. They're just 17-29 at home, and they really can't seem to do anything right. But the reason why I'm looking toward the total is looking at the pitching matchup between Carlos Carrasco and Keegan Thompson. Carrasco for the Mets, he's 9-4 and 17 starts with a 4.55 ERA. His FIP is very solid, meaning his advanced ERA statistic looks like he should be throwing a little bit better than he is. His last 3 games, he's allowed 9 runs on 19 hits in just 15.1 innings pitched. But Carrasco's road splits are really what scare me. He's got a 6.11 ERA on the road, a 4.41 FIP, and a 5.38 slugging percentage he gets, meaning if batters are getting on base, he's allowing them to get knocked in. The Cubs are actually solid offensively on the road at home this season with a 7.43 OPS. But Keegan Thompson, he's a reliever turned starter who has some of the really better looking newspaper stats, we like to say. And he's been much better at home with the 2.61 batting average against the 2.38 FIP. But he's only gone more than 6 innings one time this season. He's only touched that mark 3 times this season. The Cubs have a 4.46 bullpen ERA, and the Mets are a team that does not home run teams to death. They single, double, walk teams to death. So given the Carrasco is very shaky on the road, I'm not convinced that Keegan Thompson really is an elite pitcher. And if he gets knocked out of the game, I think the Mets can get to the Cubs bullpen. I think 7.5 is too low, and I'm going with the over.
Sports fans, Eric Pauly, who's doing great work over at SportsMemo. He says Mets cards, take that total. He's a winner. Guys, if you like what you heard and know what you do, go follow him with these great customer appreciation discounts over at SportsMemo after the show. Let's go over to Jeff Michaels, who's doing great work on SportsMemo as well. And he's got some exciting things he'd like to tell you about on the premium side tonight. And he's got another free winner for you on the best bet. Jeff, the floor is yours.
Yeah, guys, like, again, repeating Eric today, but like Eric said, plenty of awesome deals, especially everybody's got to say a big thank you for all the subscribers, but hey, it leads to benefits for you guys too. And now you can use them on all the top handicappers on SportsMemo. So you got plenty of options. My big play today was actually already went off. But gives me plenty of time tonight. I got some big things circled for tomorrow to take another look at. So take a look out there tonight. You could see some big plays from me up there tonight. But when it comes to free play and best bet for today's show for you, I'm looking at the St. Louis Cardinals plus that 1.5 against the Dodgers. I mean, yesterday was an exciting game. It was a big scoring game and a disappointing 1-run loss for the Cardinals. But a lot of what I like today is based off of what I saw yesterday. I mean, St. Louis has won 3 straight games on the run line now, and they're 8-3 on the year after a 1-run loss. But it's more about what they did in that loss. They're 12-4 on the run line after allowing 10 or more hits in a loss, and they're 7-0 on the run line after putting up 5 or more runs themselves in that loss. And they're winning those games by nearly 5 runs per game. They're putting up almost 8 runs per game and holding the opposition to just 2.86 runs per game. I like Tyler Anderson for the Dodgers, but if there's one team that's been able to get to him, it's been the Cardinals. He's had 3 starts against the Cardinals. The Dodgers are 0-3 on the run line in those 3 starts. And Tyler Anderson's ERA is a 7.90. He's allowed 12 earned runs in 13 2/3 innings against this Cardinals team. And the Dodgers as a whole have allowed over 20 runs in the last 3 games combined. Daniel Hudson's on the mound for St. Louis, and he's got just a 2.62 ERA at home, and the team's won 6 out of his 8 starts on the run line at home. And dating back to last season, they've won 9 out of his last 11 starts on the run line at home. So I see Cardinals bouncing back big in this one and even potentially taking down the Dodgers straight up, but I'm going to put them on the run line for the best bet and take that 1.5.
Sports fan, Sports Memo's leaderboard fixture, Jeff Michaels, a.k.a. JM Sports, says the Cards plus the 1.5 is his best bet. Go follow him after the show with some of these customer appreciation discounts. I promise you, you dip your toe in the Jeff Michaels water, you'll dive in afterwards. I promise you that. So, guys, I'm going to do with my best bet. So it's time to adjust the headsets, the tablets, the PCs, and the phones because I am very excited today. First, let me tell you what I got going on. I have both a 5% play alert and a hot streak alert as my 6th. That's right, 6th consecutive MLB home run play. Got everyone paid yesterday. I also went 2-0 in baseball with 2 5% releases. That's right, I swept the board. Guess what, folks? Today, these 2 incredible streaks are going to meet up. I have a 5% MLB home run play today. My MLB home run plays are on a 50 and 29 overall run, while my 5 and 10 per let me try that again. My 5 and 10% releases are on a 50 and 25 run. Get on today's big winner and get paid. I have it posted in SportsMemo right now for just $15, but $15. But there are discounts available right now that brings that price down even lower. Now, let's go into today's free winner from Joe D, my best bet. For my full count show free play winner, I'm going to be giving my opinion on one of the games the guys covered in the roundtable segment between 2 National League teams that have a very good chance of making this postseason in the Brewers-Giants matchup. My friends, while both teams have good offenses, I don't think I would be going out on a limb by saying both lineups can be a bit erratic at times. All right, coming into this matchup, Milwaukee has played to 7 unders over the last 9 outings, while San Francisco, 5 unders unders their last 9 contests. Corbin Burns, 7-4 with a respectable 2.20. Carlos Rodon, 8-5 with an equally respectable 2.70. As a matter of fact, Burns has allowed 3 or less runs in 6 consecutive appearances, while Rodon has allowed 3 runs, over 3 runs just once in his last 10 appearances. These 2 teams have played to 3 consecutive unders, 5 unders over the last 6 meetings. I don't think this outcome is going to be any different. Although the total is low, I still think it goes under. Johnny under, take the under. And guys, as I promised yesterday, right here on the show, if we hit those 5,000 subscribers, I was going to give out an extra bonus free play. Short and sweet like me, no big analysis. My second free play bonus, I'm going to take the Yankees on the run line. They got to taste back after 3 consecutive losses. They won yesterday. They got a slim win yesterday. They flexed their muscles today. They got another game with the Reds. They got a short series with the Red Sox before the midway point of the season. They want to go into All-Star break really on fire and separate themselves from the rest of the division. Take the Yankees on the run line. Guys, let's bring back the rest of the panel. I have a couple of quick announcements. Then guess what? We're out of here. Sports fans, be sure to tune in every weekday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern to this show, Full Count. It's Sports Memo's MLB betting coverage show. We come to you live with special guests each and every day. My friends, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We need your help. We want to hit 10,000 subscribers before football ends, but we need your help to do so. Also, don't forget to take advantage of the plethora, and I mean plethora, of amazing discounts over at Sports Memo. I got to tell you, man, the customer appreciation you get from Sports Memo is unrivaled. I have 3 quickies, and then I'm out the door. And who doesn't like 3 quickies in a row? First of all, after tomorrow, your sexy and savory host is going to be taking a small vacay from doing videos. Now, you can still depend on me to post winning releases on the premium side and free plays almost every day on the Sports Memo website. But I'm going to take a little time to recharge the batteries. Let's face it, even God rested on a Sunday. Your sexy and savory host needs a little time off. So I'm going to be taking a little time off. There'll be more about this tomorrow on both the First Family and the MLB show, as our producer, Chris, is going to put out a statement. We're going to see what's going to be going on the next few weeks. You'll get some answers about that. Also, I have a special announcement. We have a new addition to the Sports Memo family. I want to send congratulations to Dr. Chuck and his family. They had a beautiful baby boy yesterday. God bless you and the family. Oh, my God, I'm throwing this out there. The name Joseph goes a long way, and I make a great godfather, Dr. Chuck. From everybody here at Sports Memo and Wager Talk, too, God bless and congratulations. One last, on a personal note, before I head on out of here, we have part of our Detroit team, and I see him in the back room, coming out here this week. And our good friend Chris, who produces all these shows, he makes me look even better looking than I really am, and I'm good looking to begin with. And Lexi, who does a ton of work behind the scenes. Without you two guys, I want you to know we at Sports Memo could not shine, and we love you. They're coming out. They're going to be doing some things for the video content this weekend, but I'm going to be meeting up with them. And Chris and Lexi, don't you worry. I got a ton of bail money in my pocket, and I got my bail bondsman's phone number on speed dial. We're covered the whole weekend. I promise you, if we get arrested on Friday, we'll be out by Monday morning. I love you guys. Guys, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and everybody for helping us hit that 5,000 subscriber mark. My friends, this is Joe D'Amico. On behalf of Sports Memo, Eric and Jeff, good luck and have a winning day.